Councilwoman, welcome to the program here. More studies now underway. I've followed this for quite a while now. Why is Corpus Christi continuing to postpone this, kick this can down the road?
Well, that's a great question, but I would, of course, ask to disagree. So I don't perceive this as Tuesday's action as continuing to kick a can down a road. What we did when we got elected this last year was we were faced with the Inner Harbor Marine Desalination Project. That was really the only project at the time that the city had chosen to put all of its focus and efforts in securing an additional water supply. What we determined at that time was there really wasn't a satisfactory ecological study on the project. And being that we're putting it in a closed water system, that presented some concern. And so we did, of course, go through the process to request that study. Tuesday, we saw the findings of a very technical study that was completed. The next steps, of course, is to include our marine and biology scientists on this study to see what that actual impact is now that we have the physical parameters delivered.
And does Corpus Christi have the time to do all this? It seems to me from afar looking at this that it sounds like it needs to be on the fast track. Is that not the case?
So water definitely has needed to be on the fast track. And the issue that we have been facing is in January of 2025, we were given reports from our leadership that it was projected for our water to not be able to meet demand in winter of 2026. Now, like I said previously, the Inner Harbor Marine Desal project had really been the only new project that the city has been looking at for years. That estimated time of water delivery would not be until 2028. So that's where that sense of urgency comes in, because there was a clear shortfall between those two timelines. So what this council has done, which is unprecedented, we really, over the last decade or longer, there has not been this much affirmative action to secure additional water supplies as has taken place in the last 18 months with this council. So we increased the amount of water that we were bringing from our eastern reservoirs, and we have taken very decisive action on securing immediate water supplies to the tune of about 76 million gallons a day. That's about the amount of projects that we have taken action on. We are bringing those online. We're already seeing some of that water hitting our system, and we'll continue to see that coming online in the next 12, 24 months. All of that to say, that's something that I think has kind of become a misconception, is that the Inner Harbor Marine Desal project is the project that's going to rescue the water supply issue in Corpus Christi, and that's simply not true, because it cannot come online in time. It does not furnish the volume that we need. And so therefore, we've had to take action on other supplies, which we've done.
But if you don't have this desalination plant to take the salt out of the salt water there, you're just relying on rainfall to refill these rivers and reservoirs, right?
No, actually, so we have invested in two groundwater projects. One that can yield up to 36 million gallons a day, which is bigger than the Inner Harbor, and one that can yield up to 24 million gallons a day. A third project that we're working on is effluent reuse. So every system, of course, has effluent. And what we've done is we have put into motion action to recapture that, to be able to use it appropriately to offset our demand within our system. A couple of our industrial partners have been very helpful with that. What they did was they saw that we were investing in this, and they've come on as partners to actually take some of that directly from its delivery points or its access points, and that's very helpful. What that can do is help get that water online through their system quicker, and that offsets our supply demand. And so we're not relying solely on surface water recharge, although we have had some beneficial rains, and that does help.
Right.
But the Inner Harbor project is one of 4 marine desal projects that we actually are looking at and taking action on.
We've seen the headlines from the coastal bend. We've seen what the governor's office has said about, Corpus needing to kind of get on the stick here. Put this in context for us. How critical is the water situation right now?
Water is very important. Water is very important. I'm not going to sit here and say that it is not. We have
Is
got to
Corpus
secure
about to
it.
run out though? I mean, in winter of 2026?
So our new projections between the projects that we've taken action on and the rainwater that has improved the condition of our surface level, our surface water supplies, we're estimating now to push that back to December, if not further into 2027. So that has all got us a lot more time on this curtailment issue. That does not mean that we can stop moving full steam ahead, but it does mean that it's working. The system is working. And so all of those projects that we've invested in we're starting to reap benefit from that.
You have the effluent where you reuse older water. The industry could use some of that. You have the other groundwater projects you're talking about here, rivers, reservoirs, and Oasis River as well. Everything that I'm hearing is that the desal plant would be the guarantee here because the Gulf isn't going away anytime, and you can always take the salt out of the salt water and use that. That's the fail safe if it doesn't rain, if you don't get the groundwater recharged. Is that the case?
So marine desal is something that's classified as drought resistant. And because we're on the coast, you hit the nail on the head, that's not going away. So we have taken action on 3 other marine desal projects. Inner Harbor is one, and that is the one that we're still trying to find. We want to make sure absolutely that that is the best investment if we go in that direction. So there's another project that the Nueces River Authority, along with the port, is working on that's going to be an enormous desalination plant, and they are moving forward with that. This council has put a $2.7 million reservation fee on 50 million gallons of that water a day. There's another location. We have the Barney Davis power plant located here in Corpus Christi. Mm-hmm. It is owned by CPS Energy in San Antonio. We are actively in very positive conversations with them, and we are currently designing what that would look like to convert that into potable marine desalination water. Both of those projects, the reason those are different and the reason that this council has been investing in those 2 projects is because of the size. So even if the city of Corpus Christi chooses not to purchase the full volume of those plants, the size is going to benefit this region and even the state, because those are 100 million gallons a day plus, where the Inner Harbor is really stuck at 30 million gallons. And our system, to put that into context, in our peak, we need 135 million gallons a day. So 30 million gallons a day does not really secure that, if that makes sense, to put that into scale.
Sure.
There's also a marine desal plant in the Inner Harbor, but it's a little smaller. It was built for a polymers plant. They're not actively utilizing that. And we're in discussions about capturing some of that water while they're not utilizing it for processing. We could be utilizing it in our system. And so that's just an example. We're not anti-desalination, and we fully recognize that marine desalination is a secure, drought-resistant supply, and it's our future. But we're doing this responsibly, because the fact is that there isn't any of these desalination plants that could come on fast enough to provide us that immediate water need. And so that's why we've taken action on so many other projects.
What's the reaction from constituents?
Our constituents have been very vocal. Of course, you have groups of individuals on both sides of the feeling for this. I would have to say with confidence, regardless of the constituents' feelings of pro or anti Inner Harbor project, this city wants to see that we will supply secure water. That's what it boils down to. The fact that they'll be able to turn on their taps and rely on that system. That's why we've made the decisions that we have.
How confident are you, Councilwoman, that with all the decisions you've made separate from the Inner Harbor project that keeps getting postponed here, how confident are you that Corpus can turn this around and not face these critical water shortages that have been predicted?
If we continue in the route that we've been going, I'm very confident. This council recognizes that our city is really, it's too crucial to the state and even the national economy to fail. And that's why we have to take this very seriously.
And do you think industry is as confident right now?
I'm not sure industry is as confident, You can invite a partner to a table, and you can assure them, and you can show them the science, and you can show them the math on the volumes of water that we need, and you can ask that they take that in consideration. And I think from my discussions with individual industry members, um, it's I think there's a little bit more optimism than sometimes we see on the large scale. When I talk to some leaders myself individually, they understand we're going through a hard patch, but they see we're taking action. I think that there's some partners who, of course, they prefer a specific project, which in this case, the Inner Harbor. But what we have to really recognize, because our position is that we represent industry, residential, commercial, and we supply to 7 counties. So we have to take a very sober, realistic look at this. And if 30 million gallons a day doesn't protect our water supply, then we have to look at what will.
If the quarter, well, let me ask you this. The Inner Harbor project, you said, would create about 30 million gallons a day, which is about a quarter of what Corpus Christi needs on a daily basis. Why is this thing stuck in the headlines and creating so much consternation there in the coastal bend?
Because it has been the project that the city for a long time has put its entire focus on. And because there hasn't been enough discussion about the other potential projects, I think that's why it's getting so much attention. And, we have had council members in the past who have kind of had the foresight to see this path that they were going down, but they didn't really have enough support. And so now our city, they've elected a very new, different council. And with the majority of that, this is the direction that we recognize is the most responsible.
We keep seeing these headlines that September, October, the city could go into this critical shortage. There has been some rain there to help out. Is that being postponed now, do you think? Is Corpus taking a sigh of relief?
I think so. In talking to our city manager, we feel a little more comfortable that rather than a September or October deadline, that could be pushed back several months. So they are back at the drawing board doing those estimations, and we're supposed to get that presentation on June 23rd in that council meeting.
Any chance that you guys might vote again on the Inner Harbor project before September the 1st?
I don't know that we would vote on the project itself. There's likely going to need to be some decisions on the financials because of how we are connected to the state financing. So I think that we'll have to have some dialogues on the financial side. But before September 1st on the actual project, I don't foresee a vote.
Gotcha. Councilwoman, thank you for the time. We appreciate the insight here.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.